by your terrier? Does your Abyssinian kitten have you agitated? Is your Bichon totally bonkers? Well, if you love your dogs and cats, and I know you do, and you really want to get inside their heads and understand their behavior almost as well as they get you, or maybe you're just confused about why your dogs or cats behave a certain way they do, or just want to improve their lifestyle. Either way, you know what to do. Stay tuned, because once again, right here, right now, it is time for The Pet Show, America's first and only real pet psychology, pet training, pet behavior, and of course, pet lifestyle show. So hop up on my couch. Bring those furry little buddies with you, folks. It is that time once again to let the animal analyzing begin. Hello, everyone. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show, the place where we absolutely, positively, never a doubt about it, love, adore, and as I stress every single week, respect pets and animals as much as you do. By the way, if you want to join me on the Ever-Growing Pet Show family, maybe you have a question about why your dog or cat behaves a certain way. Maybe the dog is jumping or humping or digging or appears aggressive or can't go for a walk when he sees another dog, or is barking all the time, dug up your backyard. Or maybe your cat has scratched your favorite chair. Or maybe your cat stopped using the litter box, peed on your bed, doesn't get along with the other cat, doesn't respond to you. You get the idea. That's what we do on the show. That's what we've been doing on the show for well over 44 years, helping people resolve any issues that may be coming up with their dogs or cats' behavior, and resolving any issues that may be coming up on the human behavior as well. So if you have a question or a comment, want to share a great story about a dog or cat you rescued, or could have been a dog or cat you grew up with, we love to hear those stories. Got some great stuff to give away on the Pet Show today as well. On the show today, I'll be giving away lots of great t-shirts. By the way, lots of new colors and styles. Air horn, a big air horn sale coming up. I'll talk about that later. Best-selling books, either dog or cat, calming discs, lots of great stuff to give away. Plenty of time to answer all of your pet and animal questions. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA. That's 866-870-KRLA. Or if you're more of a numbers person, 866-870-5752, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. By the way, if you want to watch the show live and see the mug behind the microphone, feel free. YouTube.com/Warren Eckstein. YouTube.com/Warren Eckstein. We're broadcasting live there. If you want to ask a question on my YouTube channel, you can do it now as well. YouTube.com/Warren Eckstein. Anyway, we have a busy show. Plenty of time for your questions, plenty of time for your comments, but let me share what's coming up on today's show. If you're a regular listener to the Pet Show, of course you should be. So many calls come into the show with dogs that are nervous sweaters. A couple of calls last weekend. My dog pees when people come over, pees when he gets excited. So we get a lot of calls on the show with dogs that are nervous sweaters. Is it normal for dogs to pee when they're excited? Today we're going to take a deep dive. I mean a deep dive into the difference. And here's where most behaviorists and trainers and even guardians lose it. The difference between excited peeing and submissive peeing. It's really critical for pet guardians to know the difference out there. I know it's not the sexiest subject on the world, but is it normal for a puppy to pee when greeted, or an adult dog when they get excited? If you have a question or comment about that, I'd love to hear from the listeners. 866-870-KRLA. 866-870-5752. Also coming up on today's show, is your cat acting crazy all of a sudden? Not sure why the change? What the heck is going on? Don't worry. Is your cat suffering with spring fever? Here's something I talked about years ago, and people thought I was a little eccentric, but hear me out on this one. Spring is here. Cats have amazing senses, and with the changes in spring, our cats could be suffering from sensory overload. Sensory overload. Important topic. We're going to talk about that as well. Now, also, on a very, very important topic, I don't want to go into the depths and the fires and all this stuff that's going on. We're going to talk about that later. But you're all aware of my friend Casey Colvin and the story of Oreo. And thanks to the incredible work of my friend Judy Mancuso. By the way, Judy's going to join us later. She's the founder and president of Social Compassion Legislation. Judy will be joining me at 12:30. We'll talk about the fires, earthquakes, other disasters. If you have a pet, you don't want to miss this interview. Now, before we talk to Judy, the reason I am so involved with this, many of you know, or many of you may not know, that I was a spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security during Katrina. And I talked to thousands of radio stations across the country specifically about what happened, very similar to the fires we had in California. People could not get in there to rescue their dogs, rescue their cats, rescue their horses, rescue their birds, or whatever type of pets they may have. However, there's a new law. There's a new law that's not passed yet. We may need your help doing it. So Judy will be talking to me at 12:30. You're not going to want to miss this interview. It could happen to you. Not only whether it be fires, not only whether it be earthquakes. I also spent time, besides serving as a spokesman for the Department of Homeland Security. You know, I spent a lot of time at Ground Zero after the attacks. Same thing, similar. People couldn't get there to get their dogs, get their cats, see what was going on. So we'll talk to Judy about that and some great changes, I think, that will be made. So everyone who lives with a dog, everyone who has a cat, everyone who has a pet, we live in Southern California. Disasters are part of our lives. Let's face it. We're going to be here. It's going to happen. Fires, earthquakes, who knows what. Anyway, you're not going to want to miss this. I'm sure Judy will give you some advice, and we're going to, more important than anything else, because she's so involved with changing the law. She's got a bunch of laws working, but we're going to talk specifically about the AB 478, Bill AB 478. Oreo's law, I like to call it, and we'll talk to her a little bit later. Real important subject. You're not going to want to miss that interview. Again, the number here at the Pet Show, if you want to comment about that right now, feel free, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. As always, plenty of time for your questions, plenty of time for your comments, lots of great stuff to give away. So if your pet is jumping, chewing, scratching, maybe that rescued feral cat is confused about the litter box, or that beautiful dog you brought in isn't housebroken. Maybe the dog doesn't get along with other dogs, or just believes anything he sees out there he must hump. Give me a call, 866-870-5752, 866-870-KRLA. So, the majority of people, I think that 99.9% of listeners to the show love their dogs, love their cats. So let me point this. This is going to be the question of the day. Don't be afraid to answer it. I really want to get your take on it. Should pet owners be allowed to go into evacuated areas to check on their pets, see them, and rescue them? I want to hear from you guys. I think it's an important question. Give me a call, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. Also coming up on today's show, besides talking to Judy, and this is such a critical subject. You know, when I was at Ground Zero, it broke my heart, you know, and this was after part of it was done, where people couldn't get into to see if their dogs or their cats were alive, or what they were doing. And you know what happened after Katrina. I mean, I still hear from people after that. In fact, right behind me, there's a great letter, one of my favorite letters, and I honor it, from the Department of Homeland Security, saying how important it was for get that information out to the people whose dogs and cats may have been lost or missing, and were rescued. And I think this is going to go a long way. You know what Casey did, and he didn't. One of the things I admire about Casey so much is the concept that he didn't give up. He just went and went and went and went and went and went and went. I was one of the first calls he made when the dog was missing, and that enthusiasm, I think, encouraged other people, and may even encourage Judy. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I'd love to hear from you guys as well. Do you believe, as a pet owner, pet guardian, whatever one you call yourself, that if there's a disaster, you should be able, or perhaps a designated rescuer should be able to go into an area to check on whatever dogs and cats or other animals might be involved. So give me a call, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. We're also going to have some fun on today's show. If you have a dog that is one of those butt-scooting dogs, we all have had butt-scooting dogs. It's embarrassing, but a lot of people don't understand why the dog is doing it, and there's a lot more to it than you think. Also coming up, have you ever noticed wherever you're sitting, I don't care if you're sitting on the bed, you're sitting on the couch, no matter where you're sitting, backyard, whatever, the minute you get up, your dog takes over that chair. Why do dogs steal the seats of the people they live in? But they do. I got to tell you, I was sitting down watching, what show was I was watching Storage Wars, I believe, this morning on TV. And the minute I got up to make myself my second cup of decaf coffee, why? I don't get decaf coffee, but I had my second cup. And as soon as I got up and I went back to sit down to relax and have my Vienna finger cookie and my coffee, Molly and Willie had already taken over my seat. Anyone else have that situation where the minute they get up, their dog take over their seat, or maybe their cat takes over their seat? Give me a call, 866-870-KRLA. So what about scooting? We're going to talk about that. And I got a call this week from someone who said that their dog is totally addicted to licking their feet. Why? Why is the dog licking their feet? I got the answers coming up as well. And one of the things I'd like to talk about, I've been working with cats and dogs my whole life. And, you know, dogs get all the credit for being therapy and doing this and doing that. Well, we're going to talk a little bit later, whether you believe or not, that cats can make great therapy animals as well. A lot of people say no, can't train a cat to do this, cats can't do that. So we're going to talk about that as well. As always, as I said, plenty of time. And I think you're going to kind of find my approach interesting. And I had an argument with someone this week. What a shock. Warren argued with somebody. You bet I did. How many times have you heard me say on the pet show and talk about barking dogs? And dogs do not bark for no reason. There's always a reason. They're losing their hearing. Charles Manson is outside your house. So we're going to talk about barking a little bit. But one of the concepts, and I wrote about this week, and I'll share this on my YouTube channel as well, is a lot of people don't understand when their dog is barking, shut up, knock it off, don't bark, don't bark. If you have a barking dog, the best thing that you can do is observe when the dog is barking. Common sense, right? If you know when the dog is barking, very often you can decipher why the dog is barking. Is someone got a new car outside? Is there a new dog in the neighborhood? Are there kids skateboarding? What is it that causes barking from your dog? And once you know why, resolving so much easier. That's been my biggest, I don't want to say success, but, you know, I've trained over 30,000 animals. And I think the reason for that is I've always looked at the why before I looked at the how. If you take the time to look at the why and figure out why the dog is behaving that way, and then you can figure out how to resolve it. And my beef, and I love trainers and behaviors, my beef with most of them is so many go to someone's home and the dog is barking, the dog is jumping, the dog is humping, the cat's doing this, and their focus is on how to stop it. How do I stop that behavior? Where their focus should be really on why is that behavior caused in the first place. Let me take a quick break. We'll come back. If you have I got some lines open today. If you have some questions or comments, great time to give me a call. If you want to ask or talk about the concept of what happened after the fires and the disaster of people not being able to go in there and rescue their animals. If you have a question about that, a great time to give me a call, or any other question about your dog or cat's behavior. That's what this show is all about, making life easier for your pets. Let's face it, folks, it's a tough time living with people. Again, the number, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Quick break. I'm Warren Eckstein. You're listening to The Pet Show. We're back on The Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Busy show coming up. We're going to be talking to Judy Mancuso later on, founder, CEO, president of Social Compassion and Legislation. Does amazing work trying to get these laws passed. So here's the bill that's there. Let me just toss this out to you, and then I'll get to some phone calls. A bill ensuring that pet parents can rescue their animals left behind in evacuated areas. This bill is in response to Los Angeles inadequate. Let me repeat that. In response to Los Angeles inadequate response to residents in the Palisades who had animals in the evacuation zone and had to either sneak into the area to save their pets or rely on animal rescuers to do it. So let me toss this out at you. We're going to speak to Judy in the second hour, and I think it's really an important conversation to have. What would you do? What would you do if there was a disaster and you weren't there and your dog, your cat, or whatever type of beautiful, wonderful pet you had was left behind? Would you go in there? No matter what the law said, would you go in there to save your pets? I'd love to hear from you guys. Give me a call, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Your poodle, your schnauzer, your Mustang, your rescued burro, your feral felines left behind. What would you do? Would you go back? Would you go back to rescue them, even if you were told not to? We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but I'd like to hear from you guys, 866-870-KRLA. We're going to get to you, Dilius, I believe it is, Dilius Stewart in Palmdale. We'll get to you in a minute. Great time to call me. I got a couple of open lines that are pretty rare, but before we do that, I had a lot of calls this week from all over. You all know I do my national radio show after this for Radio American Armed Forces Radio. A lot of calls from strange behavior from their feline buddies. Why all of a sudden? Is your cat, I wrote this, it'll be on my YouTube channel. By the way, if you're not following my YouTube, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. And I've been telling you for weeks and weeks, there's going to be some really important and major updates. So if you're not subscribed to youtube.com/Warren Eckstein, it's free. Lots of great stuff there. Get there and do that. But anyway, getting back to what I was talking about. I tend to lose my trend sometimes. Is your cat acting crazy all of a sudden? Not sure what the heck is going on? Don't worry. It's just spring fever. Spring fever is a term used to describe a variety of symptoms and behavior changes associated with the change of the seasons. From winter to spring, for us humans, it can be hard to adjust to the changing balance of light and the warmer weather. But for our cats, it's so much more extreme. Because cats have a much stronger sense of smell and are more in tune with the natural world than we are, it can actually be a sensory overload for them this time of year. So if you've noticed your cats are acting a little weird, well, a little weirder than normal, just remember, it's very possible they're just going through a little problem with spring fever. I do the same thing. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. Let's go to, I believe it's Dilius Stewart in Palmdale. Hi, Dilius. Welcome to the Pet Show.
Oh, hi, Warren. My name is Phyllis. My husband and I have rescued many cats, like 47 kittens we placed to good homes. We have 14 at home. We just rescued another baby. We built 2 very large catios for them. Our issue is all of a sudden, we have one male that is spraying on everything, and we have pheromones everywhere. And now the females are doing it. They're like just backing up and just peeing on anything. And we have 3 dogs that do bark a lot. So that's an issue. We do know what they're barking, and I have used your theory about saying thank you, and it actually works.
What a shock.
Yeah, it's awesome. So my dogs appreciate it when I say thank you to them. They actually stop barking.
Sure.
But the cats, the situation, they can go in and out through the house. We have 2, like I said, 2 catios. They're very spoiled. We do feed them wet food twice a day.
Are the catios are the catios on dirt or concrete?
They're on brick.
Okay.
On concrete, yeah, concrete brick, and they have beds everywhere, cat trees, everything.
But we have no idea. You said the cats are going. We have no idea if all of them are going or which one's going. Correct?
We can kind of pinpoint 4 of them that are doing that.
And there's no problems physically, no physical issues with them?
No, not at all. Our one cat, Rusty, he is an issue. He attacks two of my females, and they're very stressed. So one of them won't even come. She'll come into the house area, but he'll chase her. And he's the one peeing everywhere. And then it seems like the females start doing it also. We're a little shocked by that.
No. Don't be shocked. It's 2025, okay? Females, follow along, I'm telling you. Let's go over a couple of things. First of all, this is not an easy situation to resolve. You have so many animals there. One of the first things I would try to do is thoroughly find every specific area in the home where the cats or the dogs have previously peed. Every single area. The best way to do that, You've heard me talk about that, is with a black light at night. The areas that they urinated in will shine. Then this is really important. I know you have a lot, so this may be a couple of phone calls down the road. But at least right now, what I would be doing is once you've thoroughly cleaned that up with a good enzymatic cleaner, what I would try to do is spend more time with the cats and the dogs in those areas, playing with them, massaging them, brushing them. I would take some of their coat and just kind of rub it on the floor a little bit. I would put some of their treats and their toys in that area. But what happens when you have, and I've had as many as 30 dogs and 35 cats at one time, what happens when you have so many, it's very difficult. Because of their hierarchy, it's very difficult to figure out which one is doing it for this reason and which one's doing it for that reason. But at least if we get a starting point and we know the areas are thoroughly cleaned up and you observe, if you have to put a camera up, if you observe which ones and about what time they're doing it, that's going to make it a whole lot easier for me and you to resolve this issue and get you walking around the house barefoot. But also the fact that they're outdoor cats, at least in an enclosed area, but they're outdoor cats, they do pick up the scent of perhaps other cats or other animals that are outside. So when they come back into their comfort zone inside your home, it would not be unusual if one marks for another one to mark, for another one to mark, for another one to mark. So let's get started this way. Let's get started with finding all the areas, thoroughly cleaning them, having the family spend as much time as possible in those areas with them, treats, toys, massage, comb, whatever you need to do. Let them focus on those areas as a non-poop or pee area, but as an area where positive things happen. I'm going to guess, and it's just a guess on my part, I could be wrong on this, how close are any of them peeing next to their beds?
None.
How many are peeing next to their food dishes?
None. They're not.
What a genius! What a genius! You know what? Sometimes I'm as smart as I think. So
they're not peeing near the food. There is one issue that you did bring up. I do feed 2 colonies of pharaohs, and some of them are in my garage to be protected. They come in, I feed them, so they're picking up those scents, right? And that's why they're bringing it into the house. Do you think that is?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I love what you're doing. I think it's fabulous, and I adore you and applaud you for doing it. Let's try to get them not peeing in the house. We'll deal with the pharaohs, and I just love you right off the bat. Let's do this. Let's focus on what I just said. Let's see what difference it makes. Give me a call back in a few weeks if we notice some change, no change, a little change. Maybe a tiny bit of change, I can go a little bit further. But we need a starting point, and I think this is the starting point we have to be at.
All right. That sounds awesome. Thank you so much.
So let me
ask you. I love listening to you.
Well, thank you, Phyllis. Let me toss this out at you. Obviously, you're an animal lover, right? So God forbid this is a disaster that takes place in your neighborhood. And for whatever reason, you're not allowed back in to save your pets. How would you feel? What would you do?
I would actually do it anyway.
There you go. There you go.
We have a very motorhome that we keep in front of our house, and if there's any disasters, we have that all prepared, and we have crates and cages just in case.
It's exactly the right. It's exactly the right thing to do. Later on, when I speak to Judy Mancuso, we're going to talk about the loss. However, my goal when I was working with the Department of Homeland Security was letting people know what they needed to do to prepare for future disasters, whether it be fire, floods, earthquakes, hurricanes, God knows what disasters, tornadoes. So there are two aspects to it. One thing is to get these laws passed so people can go in, and the other thing is for people to take the preparation beforehand. Great idea, by the way. Anyway, listen, don't go anywhere. I'm going to put you on hold, and Eric will get your name and address, and I would love to send you a T-shirt that says "None of my friends walk upright." By the way, the T-shirts, brand new T-shirts just in. They come in amazing new colors. The money goes directly to my 501c3 nonprofit, hugsandkissesanimalfund.org, which you should check out and donate to, by the way. All different sizes, up to 5X, many different colors. So check out the T-shirts at Hugs and Kisses Animal Fund, or check them out at my website, thepetshow.com. Today, thepetshow.com. That money goes to save literally thousands of animals all across the country. The phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me take a quick break. Peter will get to you in a second. 866-870-KRLA. The question of the day is, should pet owners be allowed to go into evacuated areas to save their pets during disaster? Or there should be some type of organization. There needs to be something done. We'll talk about that later. 866-870-KRLA. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. We are back on The Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Have a question or comment about your dog or cat? I just want to answer the question of the day, which is, should pet owners be allowed to go into evacuated areas after a disaster or during a disaster to rescue their pets? I'd love to hear from you guys. Give me a call, 866, or any other questions you may have, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Peter will get to you in a second. Shaina will get to you also. Before we do that, sometimes I have trouble sleeping at night, and I try to figure out why, but these questions pop into my head out of the clear blue. So last night, I was watching, some show on TV, ridiculous show, who knows, Believe It to Beaver, who knows what I was watching. And I couldn't go to sleep afterwards. What was keeping me up? Someone texted me this week and said, Warren, why does my dog stare at me when he poops? Those are the things that keep me up at night. Why does my dog stare at me when he poops? Don't go anywhere, folks. I'm going to give the answer coming up in just a little bit. But right now, let me go to my friend Peter from Jersey. Hey, Peter from Jersey. Welcome to the show.
Oh, hi, Warren. How you doing?
I am doing good, Peter.
Yeah, Warren, two things. I spoke to you about 5 years ago. I was living in Los Angeles. And just a quick update, I have a rescue cat. I swear he's a Russian blue. At that time, he was wearing a diaper, and I used to express his bladder so he could pee. Yeah. I've since moved to New Jersey. He came out with me. He still wears a diaper, but he started peeing by himself about 4 years ago. Which is great, and he'll probably be 7 in September. He's doing great. I just wanted to update you on that.
Is there a physiological reason why you have the diaper on him? Can he not hold his urine?
Yeah, here's the thing. This gal had found him in a street sewer in L.A. when he was a really little kitten, and she took him there. I don't know if they're still there. There's these wonderful places in L.A. They apparently did all this surgery on him. And originally, he could only use his 2 front paws to move around. He's like a regular cat now. I'm telling you, he's so strong and healthy and friendly.
I'm so glad to hear. First of all, thank you for doing what you did. A lot of people just would have passed on that. So thank you for rescuing this cat. I'm sure it's a lot of extra work, more normal extra work than a person who's adopting a totally healthy cat. So what's going on right now, Peter?
Okay, now here's my problem. If you can get someone to direct me, where I live, where I'm living now is in Lakewood, New Jersey. It's in a complex.
I know it well. They go skydiving in Lakewood, New Jersey.
Yes, very good, very good. And we just had these terrible fires in Pine Barrens. Some
Sure.
jerk set, which I'll answer your question today at the end. But anyway, just through on the other side, it's kind of hard to picture. It's probably about 50 yards away or whatever. This guy, last year, he had 3 goats, which you're not allowed to have. And it's still a kind of a suburban type area. You're
Sure.
not allowed to have
Sure.
goats in that. And he got rid of them. Anyway, about a month ago, there's another goat. And there's one. And the poor thing is bleeding from sunrise to sunset, and it gets really loud. I actually had the local, supposedly animal control people went over there. They never got back to me. Then I had a police officer come over. He went over, talked to them. He heard it. And he said, Pete, he said, they're allowed to now have what's called a Nigerian dwarf goat. Okay? Warren, my problem is, and I'm an animal lover just by what I do. The poor thing bleats, and I've read about it. It gets so loud. It is not being properly taken care of. The only time he doesn't bleat is when I notice the guy goes out.
All right, so I don't want to run out of time. So let me kind of put my point on this.
Yeah.
What I would be doing at this point, okay, you've contacted the local animal whatever. Where you live, there's a great organization. They have a place called Popcorn Park Zoo. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I have heard of it.
Popcorn Park Zoo. In fact, I rescued an injured goose one day. They named it after me. But anyway, Associated, they do incredible work there. I've been there an awful lot. I used to bring some of their animals on kids show with me. Why don't you contact them? Contact Popcorn Park Farm, Associated Humane Societies. They've been around for years and years and years, and they can probably guide you a little bit further. If there's abuse taking place, they can guide you on that, or maybe just having a conversation with the gentleman will help. But great call. I'm so glad to hear, Peter, that your cat is doing well and you're loving New Jersey. I spent a lot of time at Lakewood, New Jersey. I have some friends who love to skydive. Me, I like my 2 feet on the ground, but they love to skydive. So I spent a fair amount of time at Lakewood, even though I spent a lot of years in the Air Force. Jumping out of a plane is not my forte, okay? Anyway, great call, by the way. Let me know what happens, Peter. I got to move on, so but give me a call. Will you give me a call back and let me know what's going on?
I sure will. Thank you, and thanks for all the work you do. And there should be an organization that lets people go in to get their pets.
Absolutely. Listen, you're preaching to the choir. I agree. Great call, by the way. Say hello to all my friends and keep your feet on the ground in beautiful Lakewood, New Jersey. Hey, the phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. My friend Pam just wanted I've been reading about this. I'm living in Arizona right now, so I may be a little out of touch with a few things. But I understand that the mayor, what are these people thinking? Cutting back? How can you possibly think about cutting back when so many animals are being euthanized? So anyway, Pam Scholl, my good friend, an amazing foster home. I've known Pam for years. She just sent me a note that I should let everyone know that come Monday at 4 p.m. at LA City Hall on Monday, 4 p.m., there's going to be some kind of meeting or whatever they're going to do. So if you're around, please show up. I am so tired of people making decisions about animals. And, and I don't want to go too off on it, but having served as a peace officer for the state of New York, I saw every form of animal abuse you can imagine, every form of it. To this day, it breaks my heart and keeps me up. And unless the public gets involved, the same people make the same decisions over and over and over and over again. And the same thing happens over again. Alex is yelling. Let me take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get to your phone, Shaina. Other calls as well, 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is the 70-5752. So just before I get to Shaina and Neil, I was teasing you a little bit about the stuff that keeps me up at night. Why does a dog stare at me when he poops? Well, let me tell you why. There's more to the story than you may think. What are they thinking when they look intently into our eyes? And they do, while eliminating. While this may seem awkward, it may seem awkward to an awful lot of people out there, to us humans, your dog isn't trying to be weird. Instead, when a dog is in the process of eliminating, they're very, very vulnerable from attack. So even when they're a group of other dogs or a group of wolves, when one is eliminating, they will keep an eye on the other ones around them, knowing that they're protected. So when your dog is staring at you, it's only because it's deeply rooted instincts to keep himself safe and to keep himself comfortable. Now I can go to sleep. 866-870-KRLA. Shaina, Los Angeles, welcome to the show. Did I even get your name close?
Hello. Thank you very much for having me on.
My pleasure.
Warren, I'm calling in regards to people not being allowed to travel, freely travel into their areas, former areas of residence, to rescue their pets.
Yeah.
I want to let you know that human beings, men and women in the United States, have an unalienable right to freely travel without restriction, as long as it is not for commercial purposes. This is upheld by the Constitution. It's upheld by both California Vehicle Code statute, United States Code Title 18, and also a whole boatload of legal precedent in the Supreme Court and other courts. Most people don't know their unalienable constitutional rights and therefore will abide by the tyranny of our government, restricting them from doing things like traveling into, where their homes are or were to get their pets. But these actions by the government are actually illegal and unconstitutional, and I just like people to look into this so that they can stand up for their rights. There are courses that are available through different groups. It stems from common law. There's a group called Free Traveler. They have a monthly Zoom group, monthly and weekly Zoom groups that people can join and ask questions. There are pages, like I said, of legal precedent that people can research.
So, Shaina, just so I don't run out of time, can you send me this information?
I absolutely can send you this information.
Okay, send it. Here's where I want you to send it. Send it to mail@thepetshow.com. Simply mail@thepetshow.com. I want to take a look at it. And I know it sounds great, but I just want to make sure that if, let's say, the police department or the fire department ropes, and no one loves the police and firemen, having served as a firefighter and a peace officer for years. But if they close off an area, then is it illegal for people to go or not? That's what I want to find out. So send me that info, mail@thepetshow.com. I'd love to take a look at it. And I'm so glad that you called because you're so in touch with the law. Maybe that's exactly what we need. So let me take a look at that and we'll go further. And make sure you leave your phone number and information email when you send it to me.
And there are people who are much more expert than I that can be consulted with, who have been studying this stuff for like 50 years. I know.
Well, when you send me that information, maybe I can contact some of those people and we can go a little bit further. Great call by. And you know what? Let's hope that I read it. Let's hope that it says exactly what it says, and let's hope it can make a difference. But a great call, by the way. Bless you for calling me. Mail@thepetshow.com. Send me that info.
I will. Thank you so much, Warren, for everything you're doing.
Oh, yeah, and thank you for what you're doing. You have a great day. Great call, by the way. Let me take a quick break. We'll get back to you, Neil. 866-870-KRLA. There's so much I don't know. I've been doing this, my entire life, and I worked on changing laws in New York City. I was arrested in changing the laws for the horses being on the hot road. So there are so many things going on, and I can't know them all. So thank my listeners for kind of keeping me in touch with everything that's going on. Let me take a quick break. break. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. Pet Show. Rick and Neil, I may have to hold you over for the next hour, just a couple of minutes, so don't go anywhere. We'll be with you. I just want to let everyone know that we're having a very, very special sale at thepetshow.com, and here's why. I was walking my two dogs the other day, came across some coyotes, and I love coyotes, but I don't want them near my dogs. You know those air horns I recommend to keep coyotes away, strange people away, dogs off leash away? Well, here's the deal. If you go to my website, thepetshow.com, don't forget thepetshow.com. Air horns, by the way, now come in two sizes. There's regular and extra L. Buy one, get 15% off. Get two, get 20% off. Get three, get 25% off. Only at thepetshow.com until supplies last. And while you're there, check out the new awesome Pet Show t-shirts in a rainbow of colors with sizes up to 5XL. So don't wail. Help me help the animals. Go to thepetshow.com today. I will take a quick break, get to all your calls. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. Great time to give me a call. This is The Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is the place, America's first and only real pet psychology, pet training, pet behavior, pet lifestyle show. Have a question or comment about your dog or cat's behavior, want to share a great story, want to talk to me about, later on, coming up exactly at 12:30, I'll be speaking to Judy Mancuso, who, by the way, I've known for a long time. She's the founder and CEO and president of Social Compassion and Legislation. Gotten a lot of amazing bills crossed, but now they're working on AB 478, also called the Friends of Oreo, Uniting During Disasters, Found Act, Oreo's Law. So we're going to talk to Judy coming up. But the question of the day, this is what prompted me. You know the story, Oreo and how Casey finally got in there and Oreo was saved. Just an amazing story. Should pet owners be allowed to go into evacuated areas to save their pets? That is the question of the day. Should they be allowed? So that's coming up a little bit later. Just a reminder before I get to you, Nick and Neil, and Rick, is that every week I have these great topics. I mean, I just super topic today. Is it normal for a puppy to pee when they greet you? What's the difference between submissive urination and excitement urination? Really important topic, and I'd love to get to it, but there's a good possibility I'm not going to it. So let me just do this one more time. I'm going to do it a lot more times. If you are not subscribing to my YouTube channel, it is free. Go there. This week, I will post excitement urination. I will also post a lot of other things every single week. Go there, because very often I have these great things I want to talk about on the show, but your phone calls take up my time, which is exactly what I want to do. That's what the show is based on. But sometimes I have these great topics I don't get to. All you need to do to check them out is subscribe to my YouTube channel. As I said, it's free. YouTube.com/Warren Eckstein. So if I don't get to your dog scooting today, or if I don't get to why your dog steals your seat or licks your feet, that'll all be coming up on the YouTube channel. Right now, the phone number here at the Pet Show, if you have a question or a comment, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me go in order here. Let me go to Neil first and then Rick. Hey, Neil. Welcome to the Pet Show.
Warren, great to speak with you again. Happy day to you.
Happy to you as well.
Yes, you were talking about barking earlier.
Yeah.
And so I have Millie, who is a very good-natured, well-behaved dog. She's a little Maltese mix. I've had her about 11 months. And she's, I think, going on about 4 years old. And over the last few months, she's starting to, I don't know, I guess express herself because, I think we bonded. It took a little while for us to become really buddies. And because she's had a little bit mixed background with moved around and things. And I know she has separation anxiety. But she will bark at the door, the window, when it's very quiet. And she also
just because Neil, it's very quiet for you. A dog's sense of hearing is so much better than ours. Their instincts are so much better than ours. It's very rare, very, very rare that a dog will bark for no reason. Sometimes it's because they're losing their hearing. In your case, the fact from what you're telling me, and I'd like to delve further, but time-wise we can't. What you're telling me is the dog had kind of an unusual background, maybe several homes, maybe this, maybe that. I don't know, nor does it make any difference. But now the dog has bonded with you. The dog realizes it's in this great home. He's been with you for a while. So now all of these behaviors, these normal dog behaviors that perhaps were inhibited in the dog for all this time, is now first coming out. So what do we do about it? A lot of trainers would say if the dog is barking like crazy, you got to correct the dog right now. I say let him bark a little bit. Let him go through this change of behavior. You've only had him for 4 months. Let him go through the decompression aspect of it. Let him go through a little barking. Let him misbehave a little bit. That's all going to work itself out. Try to be consistent and try to distract him, but don't overly correct him, because if you do, you're only going to make the problem worse.
No, I hear you completely. May I give you one other example?
Sure.
When I have her in the car, for instance, somebody walks by, she'll begin to bark. You know what I've tried with her is, Millie, I love you. And she actually has calmed down on a couple of occasions. But if that person comes over to the car to pet her, or if it's in person, she calms right down. And I think it's separation anxiety. She wants to be loved.
I don't think it's separation anxiety. I think it's abandonment issues. I think the dogs have different homes, different backgrounds, and sometimes what happens is they have certain abandonment issues, which are often considered separation anxiety. There's really a difference there. Sometimes they can have both, but there is a difference there. But in your case, and bless you for taking this dog in, give the dog more opportunity. It's been 4 months in my calculations, and I sucked in math. That's 16 weeks. You know how long it takes for behaviors to sometimes change that have been going on for years? So give her some time. But in terms of when she's barking, what I want you to do, and you heard the guy from New Jersey call and say, it works for me. What I want you to do is when the dog is barking, it appears for no reason in your mind, but believe me, it's not for any reason. Maybe the dog's doing it to get your attention. Maybe that was the only way the dog got attention in the past. Go over to the dog at that point, say, thank you, I appreciate it. We're living together. We'll work this out. I got it from here. That's what I want you to do. But give her some, I always get in trouble when I say there are times you just got to let a dog hump. There are times dogs have to just be dogs. And sometimes we try to overly correct them. So we don't know the background. We don't know if she was yelled at constantly for barking. So let's give her some more opportunity, a little bit more time, and I think that'll work out. I'd also, at this point, Neil, like to send you a copy of How to Get Your Dog to Do What You Want. And here's why. In that book, there's everything you need to know from the day they come in to the day you have to say goodbye. But the most important thing for you to read is confidence building, self-esteem, and self-image. I want you to focus on that. Give the dog some more time. If you're still running into a snag, you can always get back to me and we can go further.
Okay. Thank you, Warren.
No, thank you. What's your dog's name, by the way?
Her name is Millie.
You give Millie a big hug and a big kiss, and we're going to send you a copy of How to Get Your Dog to Do What You Want. Sometimes over the years, and I've been talking to you guys, it's almost 45 years on the radio. You notice that sometimes I'll say, just let the dog be a dog. Let the dog get through it. Let the dog get decompress. Especially you guys are amazing, my listeners, because you've rescued so many dogs. It makes all the difference in the world. But you need to give them time. You can't just sit down and say, well, now you got the perfect home. You'll be with me for life. I love you. That's all important stuff to say. I appreciate that. But give the dog some time to decompress, readjust to now living in heaven, where in the past it might have been a hellish situation. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. 866-870-5752. Let's go to Rick Warner. Rick in Brentwood. Hey, Rick, welcome to the show.
Hey, Warren, you know what? A half a century on the radio? What did you start when you were 10?
Don't get carried away. I'm feeling a lot older than 10. No, actually, I've been on the radio. This November will be 45 consecutive years.
God, that's amazing. Well, I love your show. I absolutely love you. Every pet owner, I actually don't trust people that don't love pets. You know, it's like a signal to me. And I want to talk about the previous caller. I love your previous caller. She's obviously a pet person. However, and don't let me go because at the end of this, I got a cat food question. But the sovereign citizen movement, and the signal is traveling. It's an absolute failure. It was started after the Civil War because people were homeless and there were all kinds of vagrancy laws. And if you were traveling through, you know, they didn't arrest you and they gave you some leniency. The sovereign citizen movement is a big movement 100% of the time. If you're traveling, you're not driving, you're traveling in your car, you don't have a license, you don't have a proper registration, 100% of the time you will get arrested. I want to make sure that people don't think that they've got a right to go in restricted areas. I do believe that the people in the communities and the animal groups should get together to create organizations like a pet fire department. The fire department is concerned with saving lives, and a lot of times they will not let you go in. During the great fires that we had about 5 years ago or so, I volunteered to drive a truck, and we pulled trailers out from a lot of the exotic animals. And so, you know, I understand that the environment of pet lovers is absolutely amazing. Those are the good people. But I want to make sure that no one thinks that there's it's called the sovereign citizen movement. And it's an absolute failure. And I've actually
that's pretty much why, Rick. That's why I told her to send me the information because, you know, my legal background is limited to, do I got to pay this ticket? So basically, I want to research it a little bit. I had some great points you brought up, though, and I'd really like to, once I get the information, I'll pass it on to people and get some more info. So anyway, before I run out of time, what's your cat eating question?
Okay, so, by the way, you coached me through the death of my 16-year-old cat that I loved. I thought I was a dog person, and, you know, I had lost my mother, but the cat, I mourned for a year, then I finally got another kitty cat. I love this kitty cat. So you kind of walked me off of a ledge, and I really thank you for that. But I have a friend that said you should never give a cat dry food. And, you know, it's preservatives and all kinds of stuff. And I said, what are you talking about? I said, only wet food because in the wild, that's all they ate. You know, and I said, what are you talking about? I have dry food out all day long, every night. I have I spend a lot of money on good food, I think. Can you educate me on a cat? And is it too much to have, I have an upside down bowl, you know, so my cat can nibble, you know, all night long and then, all day long. Am I overfeeding? Is that any truth?
Is the cat overweight?
No, I got a one and a half year old kitty cat that runs all over the place.
Is the cat? Does the vet say the cat is healthy?
Yes.
And what background does your friend have on nutrition?
Yeah, that's what I said. Well, she did work for vets, and you know.
I laid there millions of. Listen, I'm doing a kids thing with vets here in Arizona, getting some kids to become veterinarians. I hope high school kids. I'm going to talk to them. But let me go over something with you. For whatever reason, in the last 10 years, and I think a lot has to do with the internet, a lot has to do with some of the TV shows. Everyone goes online. They read a story about behavior. They read a story about food. They read this. They read that, and all of a sudden, they become experts on it. I have people calling me up and asking me, telling me how to resolve behavior issues, which I've been doing for a few weeks. So what I'm telling you right now, as far as I'm concerned, if you want to feed your cat healthy, dry food in conjunction with wet food, unless there's a medical reason that the vet has her off dry food, is exactly okay with me. My dogs, all my cats have always gotten a combination of dry food mixed with wet food. That's what I like. Now remember, I kind of instinctively like to follow them in the wild. Now the first thing they do when they kill a prey, it's disgusting maybe to a lot of people, but they eat the belly. That's where a lot of the grains and other stuff is. So they're getting that nutrition. So again, from me to you, tell your friend, thank you for the advice. I believe that my cat is going to do absolutely well on a combination of dry food and wet food at the same time.
I appreciate that. I thank you for that. By the way, I'm a legal expert because I grew up watching Perry Mason, so I'm an expert in law.
You know, I hate to tell you this because
Perry Mason was my law professor.
I'm going to be embarrassed, okay? But every morning at 7 o'clock, I get up early. Denise may sleep I'll be up at 3:30 in the morning. I've gone for a walk with the coyotes and the javelinas and the wild burros from the miners that live near me. So after I've gone for my walk in dark, I come into the house. I make myself a cup of decaf coffee. I don't get it, but I do. I sit down there and I turn on the TV, and for the next hour, all I do is watch reruns of Leave It to Beaver. Now, you have to remember, Tony Dow was a very good friend of mine. That's not the reason, though. Wow. I just love Tony. He passed away a few years ago. I love Tony. But Leave It to Beaver just kind of brings me back to my childhood. But more importantly, it's kind of like my escape. But after Leave It to Beaver is Perry Mason, and then I go to the news. I'm sorry to say that.
All right. Well, I'm kind of from the same mold, but I thank you for your show, and I really hope that we can get together as a community to do something so that we do have pet rescue.
I listen. That we're gonna. I'm gonna talk to Judy later on. I'll figure that out. Anyway, I'm gonna put you on hold. I want to send you a T-shirt. It says none of my friends walk upright. By the way, they come in sizes up to 5X now. The colors are absolutely amazing. I can't take credit for the colors because anyone who knows me knows that I am one of those people that in fact is totally colorblind. I see gray. Denise has to put my clothes together. I wish they had Garanimals when I was growing up. It would have been perfect, but I am totally colorblind. So, you know, if you see me on the streets or sometimes when I'm on the air and you see this color shirt or that color, you know it's me dressing myself. All right, let me do this. Phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. You're not going to want to miss the interview with Judy at 12:30. I'm going to get to you, Mark, in just a second. Great time to give me a call. I got some stuff to give away. Open lines, 866-870-KRLA. Let me take a quick break, and then I'll get to your back to your phone calls. You know that you're back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. We're going to go to Mark in just a second. Just coming up in about, in about 5 minutes, we're going to talk to Judy Mancuso, founder, CEO, president of Social Compassion Legislation. And we're going to find out about this Oreo's Law, AB 478. But right now, let me go to my friend Mark in the Palisades. Hey, Mark, welcome to the show.
Hey, Warren. Nice to talk to you. I've heard you for years. I've never called in. And I'm a pet owner. And I heard you talk about should it be a good idea to go, or should it be allowed to go get your animal in an evacuation zone. I'm not sure what you meant by that. Is it after or during an evacuation or a disaster?
Well, you know, it's interesting because, you know, I grew up on Long Island. You never know it by my accent, of course. And while I was there, I was a volunteer fireman, also working with animals for as many years as I've been working with them. So a couple of things go on here. One of the things I was able to do is work with local police departments and local firefighters at that point in New York and guiding them a little bit in things they can do to rescue animals. So it's a great question, but it's a combination. Should they be able to go in there while the fires are burning? Perhaps there should be crews that are specifically trained for that. People that are specifically trained for that. Listen, no one wants the average person running into a fire and getting killed themselves. So preparation is the most important thing. But again, educating yourself, and perhaps one of the things, and I'll ask Judy about it, is that I don't know if the fire department in LA or the police department in LA has specific units directed.
I'd like to comment on that for a second, Warren. Can I comment on that?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm actually working in the Palisades right now as we speak. And I can tell you from looking here and just seeing what I'm seeing, there is no way during a fire that if your dog or cat or horse or lemur, whatever you have, is loose and off and out of arm's reach, there is no way you could get that animal. They're scared, they're frightened, and the fire, from what I'm seeing here every day, that would just divert. If you were to roll down one of these hills or trip down some stairs in a panic, then all of a sudden you're a casualty, and people have to come and get you, and that's a whole other level of emergency response. So sad as it is.
Yeah, but what would you listen? Let me just ask you a question. What if it wasn't an animal and it was a human being, and that was the only option for you?
I think there is a tiered value, I do think that humans are more valuable than animals. As you know,
see that now that's where that's no. Listen, I appreciate that, but to a lot of people out there that live with dogs and live with cats, their love for their dogs and cats is no less than people's love for other people. So I'm a firm believer in everything is equal. But I do believe there are things, having served, with the Department of Homeland Security, getting people prepared after Hurricane Katrina, preparation is the number one thing you can do. For example, if you live in an area where fires or floods take place, there should be community meetings where people can set up situations where, this person's retired, they're home. Maybe if there's a disaster, they can get rid of the animals right away. There's things that can be done. But I know exactly what you're saying. And and I do appreciate it, and I do understand it, but there are things that can be changed. That's why I'm curious to speak to Judy and see what this law is all about as well. Great call, by the way, Mark. Did you lose anything? Did you lose your home, by the way, or are you still there?
No, I've been through a house fire before, but fortunately this time I did not lose anything.
Bless you.
And you were in the military, right?
Absolutely. A lot of years.
So if you had a fellow soldier that was injured in combat, you kind of have to secure the area and make sure that before you rescue 3 or 4 guys to go get him, that he's able to be rescued, safely without putting other people in jeopardy and then creating
but it's very possible. Listen, it's very possible those people that need to be rescued would have never been rescued if I did not have a canine dog along my side.
Fully, agreed. Mm-hmm.
So it's about working together. Listen, I understand. It's a great call. I mean, I love it both sides. I got to take a break. Will you call me back, Mark? I'd love to talk to you in more depth.
Sure, Warren. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Give me a call back another time. I'd love to go a little bit further, but I am just run out of time. That's what happens. That's why I tell people, if you're not with me on my YouTube channel, why? We can have great discussions there. It's free. I don't make any money on YouTube. I just want to be able to give you a lot more depth, a lot more information. Phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be speaking to Judy Mancuso, and hopefully we'll get a lot of explanation and a lot more information about this. Even if I hope Judy can stay on maybe a little bit longer, we'll see. Quick break, then right back to your phone calls. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. In the air with me, this is a person I've known about for years and years and years. It's also a person that never sleeps. She's working so hard on getting bills passed by the legislature. We're going to be talking about a specific bill when I bring Judy on, AB 478, the Oreo Uniting During Disaster Found Act. But she also has AB 631, AB 793, AB 1482, AB 221, AB 347, This woman never sleeps. Her heart, her soul is defending animals. So let me bring her right on. Judy Mancuso, by the way, is the founder, CEO, president, Social Compassionate and Legislation. Judy, welcome to The Pet Show.
Thank you so much. What a nice intro. Thank you, Warren.
Hey, my pleasure. I know how hard you work. We haven't spoken for God knows since my bar mitzvah. But the bottom line is that I am so appreciative of the work you've been doing all these years. And when the fires broke out in the Palisades, and Casey's dog was missing, I was actually in Arizona, and the first call Casey made was to me and my wife Denise, and try to calm him down a little bit. But Casey, he wanted that dog, and there's no calming Casey down, and knock on wood, he found it. So I want to talk to you specifically, and you wrote me this. It's basically what AB 478 is a bill ensuring that pet parents can rescue their animals left behind in evacuated areas. The bill's in response, obviously, to Los Angeles' inadequate response to residents in the Palisades who had animals in the evacuation zone and had to sneak into the area to save their pets or rely on animal rescues. Can you go into a little bit more depth in terms of what went on, what is going on, and how this bill will resolve it?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. So what went on is that people got the evacuation order, and this happened in long ago. Speaking of, how long it's been since we've talked, I was at Hurricane Katrina when it took place 20 years ago. And when people get an evacuation order, sometimes they're home and they think, oh, we won't be gone long. Let's just leave the animal comfortable in the home and we'll be back. And that's a risk that they shouldn't take, but they do take. And then number two, a lot of times they are not home, right? And then that's when chaos ensues, and they try to get someone in the neighborhood to get their animal, and that's what happened to Casey. He wasn't there. So the fires spread, broke out, fast-moving, and some people left with their animals, some people did not. And then once they were out, they needed help with going back in to get the animals, or in some cases they needed help evacuating with the animals. In one case, we had a man who was reaching out who was in a wheelchair and had a donkey in his backyard. So he couldn't get out, nor could the donkey. So there's all these, horrific situations of people needing help to get out with their animals. So number one, we would like the local jurisdiction to be able to help people. And there was some attempt by the county having some horse trailers available and allowing people to help people with large animals to get them out. But that wasn't equal across jurisdictions, right? That was just one instance. And in other jurisdictions, there's absolutely no help whatsoever. And then once the evacuation passes and people are now out and either their houses burned down or there's a flood or earthquake, now the dust has settled, let's say, and they want to see if their animal is still alive and, do everything they can to retrieve it, right? And this is where the breakdown really happened, because there was no place on any website to say, hey, I left my 4 cats at such and such address, or my 2 dogs, and, here's a picture. Can you help me go rescue them, right? There's nothing like that, of course. And that's what we'd like to see, is that the community have a telephone number to call. How do I get out with my donkey and I'm in a wheelchair? Or now that it's passed, can you go back and get my donkey, right? And so then after that takes place, there was nothing. There was no telephone number to call. There was no help. There was no one retrieving the animals. And so the rescue community kicked it into gear and did everything they could to go get the animals. And the only people they were letting in were the press for the most part. There was the fire line, so people were kind of going rogue and trying to get in. And then it's, well, who's a rescue person versus a looter? Everybody looks the same. So we need a real way to make all this happen, and that's where AB 478 comes in to lay some groundwork and rules for the local jurisdictions to get their act together, because unfortunately this will happen again.
I just want to make sure that people understand, and having worked with at Katrina with the Department of Homeland Security, as I did, one of the things I want to make sure that people understand is that the first responders, whether it be the firefighters, the lifeguards, the police officers, whatever first responders were there, they, for the most part, having worked with these first responders for years and being part of them for years, they want to save as many animals as they possibly can as well. And I think if I get what you're saying is that the most important thing, there's got to be some type of organized approach where they can focus on what they're doing, but yet people whose pets to them, as I said to the gentleman earlier, whose pets to them are no different than any other member of their family, have some option, some alternative, at least somewhere to go to get some advice or to get some help. And is that basically what the bill is going to do?
Yes, to get help, get information and get help, because what did happen is that the rescue community, who did go rogue for the most part, did rescue animals, did save a lot of lives, and reunited, like you say, family members. And you know, they had their PPE, they had the right foot gear. You know, maybe not all of them did, but for the most part, people were very responsible in going in, these animal rescue folks. And some credentialed, some not. And we were able to reunite a lot of animals. Now, a lot perished, unfortunately, and didn't need to be that way, you know.
And are still missing.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, it's just incredible to me. But listen, granted, my audience may be a little eccentric when it comes to their animals, and I understand that. But you're absolutely 100% right, Judy. It's a different world nowadays. It's not just the family dog, the family horse, the family cat. These are part of the family. I often joke, even the names we give them. We give our dogs names like Joe, Harry instead of Black and Whitey, so they're really part of the family. And I think that people just want to know that something is being done. And for what I'm living in Arizona now, but what I'm gathering for the most part is that a lot of people feel that with a little bit more organization from the political aspect of it, a lot more could have been done to save these animals just with more organization.
Well, and planning, you know, there's just got to be these steps in place. We urge the city of L.A., okay, let's do an MOU, a memorandum of understanding, you know, with my group. I had rescue people that were credentialed, non-credentialed, PEP. We're all ready to go in. They were paralyzed. They didn't know what they were able to do, what they should do, who they should work with. Well, that's not the time to be even entertaining those questions. You should know all that before the disaster hits. And you know, if you remember, and I know you do, back in Katrina, you know, that was ancient times when the people were getting guns pulled on them. Sure. Don't you dare bring your animals, get in the boat. Do you remember that?
Absolutely. You know, I was out there doing thousands of radio stations for the department then, just basically teaching people for preparation, but also hearing. Judy, can you hold on for a bit? Can you stay a little while?
Absolutely.
Let me put Judy on hold. Let me take a quick break, and then Judy will get right back to you. And I appreciate you talking to us. Quick break, then right back at you. I'm Warren Eckstein. Back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. We're talking to my friend Judy Mancuso, who is the founder, CEO, president of Social Compassion and Legislation. So let me grab Judy and get her back on. Judy, one thing I wanted to ask you about. Now, we've talked about the fact of what wasn't done and errors that might have been made. My listeners, and you know, I deal with this all the time because as soon as I get off the air here, I do my national Canadian Radio America Armed Forces radio show. And so I deal with disasters all around the country. Recently, the floods and fires in New Jersey. I just helped someone with the fires in New Jersey, the floods in the Indiana area. So this happens all over the place, and that's why I'm so glad that someone like yourself has taken a mantle. I mean, you don't get the credit for what you do because it's a lot of work, but it's really work that makes a difference. What would you suggest? We have lots of listeners here, thousands of listeners, and when they talk, they're heard. What do you recommend they do so that you can gain as much support as you possibly can so that AB 478, and we'll talk in the future about some of the other bills you have, but at least AB 478 and Casey, who is, I don't know how well you know Casey. Casey is a kind of a eccentric, amazing, adorable. What other words can I use to describe Casey? Passionate man that walks the walk, and that's what got me involved first. But I want from you to let my listeners know what they can do to support you, your organization, and getting through to the political aspect in Southern California, or all over California, in California, to change things so this problem doesn't exist again.
Well, I appreciate that. So if they go to socialcompassion.org, the first thing they're going to get is the invitation for our event tomorrow, which is called Heroes and Helpers, and Casey is a part of it, but we are honoring the legislators who actually did the right thing by breaking through red tape to help rescue animals. We are honoring the veterinarians who gave their services and their time for free, and the rescuers. So, and the press. Oh, by the way, we have a lot of press we're giving awards to, and we need to give you one day for your wealth of work throughout your lifetime. But, you know, the press was integral because they helped us to gain momentum to finally get in past the fire line. So if you go to socialcompassion.org, you'll see the invitation. Come to the event tomorrow at the Viceroy in Santa Monica, 3:30. It's a $250 donation to come. And then otherwise, you click off that and you go to the How to Help menu item at the very top, and you say send a support letter. Now, the reason we want you to do this through our website is because then we put it through the legislative portal and it gets counted and it's on the analysis. A lot of times people will send emails to some stock email for a legislator and it goes into a black hole, but this all gets counted. If you're an individual, you go to one link where you pick which of our bills or all of our bills you want to support. You put in your information. We do not share your information, sell your information. It only goes to the legislature. And then if you're a group, we need a logo and a signature in order for it to be put through this portal to the state legislature. So everyone gets counted that comes through our website. So that is mission critical. And then once they're there, they can see all of our latest campaigns, our news. They can sign up for our newsletter and, of course, donate, which keeps us going. So that's the most important thing they can do to help is to go to our website.
So if we can get to as many people as we possibly can to go to socialcompassion.org, socialcompassion.org, find the information. I'm sure there's lists of politicians that have been real helpful, legislators that have been really helpful to you. And I think that's right. In the future, Judy, I'd love to chat with you perhaps. You know, this show is basically on behavior. You know, my dog pees, my dog chews, humps everything in sight, doesn't get along with this. So we do a lot of that. But my listeners are probably the most compassionate people when it comes to anything that is going to improve the life of people and their pets. So an organization like yours, by going to socialcompassion.org, this gives them an opportunity because a lot of people don't know where to go. I want to do something, Warren, but I don't know what to do. And by going to socialcompassion.org, it gives them the opportunity, or to join you. I wish I was in Santa Monica. I love the Viceroy Hotel. I'd love to join you, but I'm in Arizona because I love 110-degree weather, you can tell. But the important thing is to get involved. So I want all my listeners to go there. Let's get this bill, AB 478, done, and then we'll talk about other bills in the future, and hopefully that makes a difference. And And hopefully the listeners will understand that the first responders were doing what they were doing to the best of their ability. They're amazing people. I trained so many on the East Coast to deal with disaster situations, how to deal with an aggressive dog that's frightened because there's a fire in the house or there's a flood or a hurricane. So it all kind of works together. So again, Judy, let me just take this opportunity because you're one of those unsung heroes. I want to thank you for what you've been doing for all these years. I know we haven't spoken for a while, but I want you to know I do appreciate everything you've been doing. And I want my listeners to go to socialcompassion.org. I'm going to post that on my Instagram and other sites as well.
Thank you. And thank you for all you do as well. And I am available to come back anytime.
Well, be careful now, Judy. I have your phone number.
Well, and if you are focused on behavioral issues, we should talk about AB 793, the Fairness to Dogs and Community Safety Act, which has to do with Conan, the dog that almost lost his life in Burbank because of one bite. And this bill actually will allow the dogs to have due process and look at their whole history.
And that'll make, Judy, that'll make a big difference. We were involved over the years with the fire chief that kicked the dog to death. And we took that, and I went to Riverside Court, and I was sitting right behind him. So we can make it. If I got to take a break, Judy, but will you promise to come back with me and keep me posted on what's going on?
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You do. Have a great day, and thank you for what you do. Let me take a quick break, then right back at you. Hey, listen, guys, I hope you guys do go there to socialcompassion.org, and I hope you learn something from that conversation. So there are people out there doing amazing stuff, and Judy is just one of them. We're just about out of time, but let me just state this, okay? It's real important that you start following me on my social media. I do share a lot of information there. Very often I don't get to it like today. So if you're not following me, it's free. Go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Also, I have a lot of different Facebook pages, but the Facebook page I use the most is this one. Maybe new to some of you, but check it out. Facebook.com/Warren Pet Talk. Facebook.com/Warren Pet Talk. Obviously, Instagram at Warren Eckstein, or youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Check it out. I do share a lot of information there every week. I want to thank you guys for listening to the show today. I want to thank you guys for being involved. I got a lot of comments, a lot of people responding to that. And hopefully, if we all work together, and we all put our heads together, we can come up with some incredible ideas and some credible ways. So when a disaster does take place, we can make sure that our entire families are saved, those that walk upright and perhaps those that don't. By the way, if you want to give me a call with a question, because I know we don't have time, you can call my national show. Starts in about 5 minutes. That number is 877-725-8255. Same type of show. I give away a few more things. 877-725-8255. Let it ring. It goes into Washington, D.C. Toll free, 877-725-8255. Till next week, give all your pets a big hug and a kiss for you. One between the ears for me. I'm Warren Eckstein, and bless you for listening to The Pet Show.